democratizing learning with artificial intelligence. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Nikolas Kairinos, founder and CEO at Fountech.ai. Welcome, Nick.
Hi, Tonya.
What does Fountech do, and why do you call yourselves a think tank rather than a development company?
Right, so Fountech is a boutique AI consultancy development company, and where the slogan or tagline comes from, really, thinking artificial intelligence, really is sort of moving away from just sort of textbook implementation of AI and trying to really think outside the box and develop new novel ways of creating artificial intelligence. So we try and encourage our team to really push the envelope and try and think outside the box. So thinking artificial intelligence has two meanings. A, it's artificial intelligence that thinks. That's the ambition. And then secondly, it's artificial intelligence that we hope is novel and new and trying to sort of develop the state of the art.
Speaking of textbooks, you've actually been at the center of a recent discussion involving the disruption of traditional education and learning by artificial intelligence. Summarize that for us.
Right. So the journey started about 2 years ago, and really I've been frustrated with education primarily because it really involves memorization of facts and figures. And I find that not enough people know how to sort of think for themselves. So tying back to the whole mission of the company and connect dots and develop new ideas and think and not have to rely too much on memorizing facts. So we sort of thought, well, how do we tackle this problem? How do we address education and sort of move away from just memorizing facts to having the facts essentially just be there if we want to access them immediately, and then thinking about how we use those facts to create amazing things and sort of take every science we're involved into the next level. And we thought, right, so let's look at developing a platform that targets everyone from the age of 8 to 80, that's powered by AI. So it's the AI that learns everything we give it and is able to then teach it in a personalized manner. And that's essentially what we've been developing for about a year now. We're looking to launch the product, which is called Sophos, which in Greek means wise person, in January 2020.
How does this involve or does this actually involve a direct connection from our neurons to the cloud?
Well, that's the ultimate ambition, right? So where that whole thing came from is I was being interviewed a few weeks back and talking about Sophos, and the interviewer said, well, you know, where do you see it 10 years from now? And obviously I'm very familiar with the work being done in brain-computer interfaces, you know, Elon Musk's Neuralink, Kernel, Brian Johnson's company, doing amazing work in the space and actually making rapid progress. And I said, well, you know, today you'll be speaking to Sophos, so it'll be a chatbot type interface. You'll be typing, you'll be tapping on the screen, but you know, 10, 20 years from now, we'll hopefully have figured out how to read and write neural code, and you'll be able to just think, and the information will be there. So whether that be through EEG or other technology, which I would imagine it's going to develop even further, I said, well, that'll be the interface. So you can be anywhere and just recall facts at your will and sort of just figure out, what do I do with those facts now?
How do you go about doing this? I mean, how do you build the data set to fully personalize the learning experience?
It's a mammoth task. So I'm not playing down how complex it is. In fact, our initial goal was to sort of have this be a storefront to kind of show what technology exists today. And as we started developing this, we identified about 33, 36 modules that don't exist to the extent that we need to use them within software. So we've gone back and said, right, let's build this tool set. And the differentiation between Fountech and Sophos, because I keep referring to both, is that Fountech is developing the tool set, which is really complex AI, which we're exposing as APIs, and we're going to make that available to others. And then using those APIs as well as what's out there, building software. So I can give you some examples as we go through the interview.
Okay, well, give us one of those now.
Right, so summarization and paraphrasing, because everyone speaks a slightly different language. I mean, you know, I have, with my kids, for example, I'll use different words or different actions to trigger different reactions out of them, right? So if I give you a chapter of a textbook and just read it to you and read it to everybody else that's interested in learning it, you're all going to take something different away from it because you may or may not have certain prior knowledge that's dependent. That's a dependency of the new knowledge I'm giving you. Other people may be more advanced in that area. You may be more visual than someone else. So we've created a tool set that will take any body of text, understand it, so store it in a knowledge graph, understand it in a way that has semantic integrity, and then we'll recompile it based on the profile we build on each individual. So we'll use different language, different wording. We'll communicate it with different tempo, different tone. We'll use different words, different accents if we realize that certain people respond to slightly different accents better than others. And if the language is complex, given where you are in your learning path, we'll paraphrase that into language that's understandable and digestible. Now, that might sound like, well, you know, I've read a lot about summarization APIs and all these things, and you think they're out there in a form that you can use to do that. But when we started building it, we realized, well, we're not quite there. So, for example, we'll be able to release in the next 6 months an API that will summarize any body of text, and you'll be able to tell it to what extent it should be summarized, what level of complexity the language should be in, what dependencies the person needs to have. And, you know, think of the applications there beyond learning. It's email summarization, a news site where, you know, I may not have the time to read every single article I want to read. I can read summaries based on what I'm interested in and given the amount of time I have. So those are two examples of APIs we're developing.
How does someone actually hear or experience the teaching or summary?
Right. So initially, the initial plan was just to have the AI speak it to you as well as use visual aids throughout the lesson, right? So there'd be infographics, there'd be videos where the AI would be speaking over the video. There'd be articles, diagrams, etc. And I don't want to say he or she because we're going with a gender neutral voice for the AI, but you'll be seeing the visuals and hearing the AI speak to you. Now, it'll be measuring your level of engagement, so everything from emotion detection, et cetera, et cetera. And if engagement levels are low, then it'll be a more interactive discussion. So the AI, so fast will stop and ask questions, get you to engage. If your engagement level is high, it'll just continue. And our lessons are broken down into 3-minute lessons. So we call them micro lessons, that if you weave them together, they weave together into a fabric of a subject, a broader subject. So it could be, you know, you're learning history, you'll learn about a specific battle. And if you sort of weave together 50 or 60 micro lessons, that'll make up a broader history subject.
You spoke previously in another answer about how we're different and identifying that we're all very different. In fact, putting aside concerns about hacking and network outages for a moment, I've interviewed so many experts in the area of ethics and bias and AI. And until we have those issues worked out, is AI trustworthy and unbiased enough to become our primary knowledge platform?
Well, that's a massive subject. I mean, way beyond the scope of this interview, but yeah, I mean, it's something we talk about every day. But talking about bias, we're launching software with absolutely zero bias. So we have a lot of experts in education on our board who are saying, look, you've got to build this in, you've got to build that in, and that's based on, you know, 50, 60 years of knowledge about how people learn. And we're saying absolutely not. We're going to let each individual user tell us whether they're learning or not based on their level of engagement, based on how we assess them as having learned the material. So we're going into this with zero biases. But in terms of the ethics, Tonya, that's a really complex subject. But we'll figure it out as we go. We've got some great advisors in the area. We're being totally transparent in that everything that you're being taught, we'll give you citations, references. We'll let you know where the information came from. So there'll be a thorough audit trail of just to ensure that no one's learning incorrect information. We're not teaching certain history that's being viewed by, you know, from one group's perspective and not another's. for example. So it's an area that we talk about a lot, and it does keep us thinking, because we're primarily technical, we're scientists, right? So it's something that you don't automatically think about, but we are very much aware of it. And I don't have an answer for you beyond that at this point, but we definitely are looking at those things very carefully.
All right, Nikolas, how do you see this being implemented? Where are we now with the technology, and when will we take the next steps?
Well, we are releasing a prototype in May, which it won't be publicly available, but happy to come back and show it to you if you like. And every 3 months thereafter, there'll be an updated version, but we're officially launching we're targeting January 2020 for an open beta to anyone and everyone, and it'll be completely free to use. So the whole mission here is democratizing education. You shouldn't need to be able to afford an Ivy League school to get a top class education. The idea is you get the best knowledge that's out there taught to you in the way you want to learn, at your pace, etc. So democratization is what it's all about for us.
Thank you so much, Nikolas Kairinos, founder and CEO at Fountech.ai. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to find out more about this new way of education, how can they do that?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, but email, I guess, is the best. And that's Nick, N-I-C-K, at Fountech, Fountek.ai.
Thanks
And
again.
I'd love to hear from anyone interested. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to find more of my interviews, you can do that right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or go to my website, tonyahall.net. Thanks for watching.